Got decimated by injury late. It was tough to watch. How about another star young quarterback, Jordan Love, in a similar situation? Would you give him all the money in the world right now?
I would pay this guy. Like this, like we're talking about a different. Jordan Love to me is like my sneaky MVP this year. I think he can have that type of season. He has, just his trajectory. We saw him playing last year. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the second half of the season. He got this tremendous young core of skilled guys. Let them grow up together.
And then let me.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this and make this a quick video because I think it's such an interesting topic right now. Because why is every single thing just blurry? Because I think that it's such an interesting question to either pay Jordan Love now or later. And I think I made a previous video kind of discussing this a little bit more. But now that I'm starting to understand what some of the numbers are going to be in the future, like Brock Purdy potentially getting like $65 million, I think you absolutely positively pay Jordan Love right now. Without a doubt. No doubt in my mind. Because there's a few reasons for this. The Packers, if all goes to plan, they are going to have some great players that they are going to have to pay big time. Not unlike what was happening with the Detroit Lions, the 49ers. Like, it's going to be a thing where they have some dudes that they need to pay. So the cheapest you can get your quarterback, the better, right? That's undeniable, right? The earlier you pay your quarterback, the cheaper your quarterback ends up being. And the price can only go up. And now, technically, by paying Jordan Love, now, it is technically a risk, right? Because you haven't seen this extended resume, extended games of Jordan Love. You haven't, he's only really played, that one full season. And even then, most people think that he didn't really only catch fire into the second half of the season. Whether that's right or wrong, it's kind of irrelevant. But we don't know because we've had lots of quarterbacks play great for stretches of games, right? I mean, the NFL is littered with those stories. Carson Wentz, Tebow. I mean, like, there's just plenty of these stretches where quarterbacks can catch fire only to not really be as good as people thought. Now, to be very clear, I am not saying that about Jordan Love. I agree. I made Jordan Love also a dark horse for a MVP as well. I think he's one of my top people that I think could get can be a true MVP contender. So I think Jordan Love is great and will continue to be great. But again, you can't deny that it is still technically a risk. But it's a risk worth taking because the odds of Jordan Love just being a bubble that pops is just not possible to me. It's just not what I think is even remotely possible at this point. Right now, people believe Jordan Love can be like a top 3 quarterback, right? Especially Packers fans, they think that the sky is the absolute limit, that he can absolutely take over the NFL. All right? Let's say that's true. Then obviously if you sign him now, then you're getting the cheapest deal you can get right now. Perfect. But let's say it's not true. Let's say he's not as great as everyone thinks that he could potentially be, or Packers fans believe he can be. Then you got to ask yourself, well, then what is the floor? Is the floor so bad that you're going to be like, oh my God, Jordan Love is awful. We just need to get him out of the building and we have to go draft a new quarterback? Because the answer is probably not. His floor has to be at least, and again, I'm not saying that this is what I think his floor actually is. I'm just saying like it has to be at least in this hypothetical situation. He has to at least be as good as a Kirk Cousins, as good as a Baker Mayfield, right? Like he has to be. As good as a Jalen Hurts, as good as, I'm trying to think of other quarterbacks here, a Dak Prescott, right? Like maybe he doesn't reach the levels of a Patrick Mahomes, right? Let's just say he's just unable to reach that level, or a Josh Allen. That's okay. You're still going to extend him for the amount of money, and you're not going to push him out and say, all right, signing him was a mistake. It's worth it, especially early on in Dak Prescott's career, Jalen Hurts' career, Kirk Cousins' career, even Baker Mayfield's career, to roll the dice. Say, yeah, okay, we'll pay this guy some money and see what happens. We'll see. We'll set up a contract where we can like look at it, 3 years, locked and loaded. Let's go all in. Let's give this a fair try. See if we can win or not. And if we can't, we move on. Right? Like you do that with really theoretically like any quarterback. outside of maybe a quarterback that's winning a Super Bowl within the first couple of years, who you're like, all right, this guy has already gotten us over the hump. We know who he is. That's why Joe Burrow got paid all his money. Because so early on in his career, right, he went to the Super Bowl and was nearly a play away from winning. Same thing with Jalen Hurts, was a play away from winning the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, of course, winning. It's like, well, you know he's going to get paid. So it's just the way how it works. So to me, I think actually paying him right now makes the most amount of sense because the odds of his floor dropping below Kirk Cousins, below Baker Mayfield, below all these guys, I just don't see it. I just can't see that possibly being the thing. It is possible that he doesn't end up being a top 3 quarterback, that he kind of maybe finds like a more average setting. And if that's the case, then I think he's worth that money that you're going to pay him now, because in 2-3 years, it'll be the appropriate rate for him. It just will be, because everything just keeps going higher and higher and higher. Not to mention, there's a better likelihood that he is a top quarterback. And I think saying top 3 or top 2 or anything like that, I think is actually, it's actually inappropriate in a lot of ways, because as you guys all know, I am not a fan of ranking quarterbacks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always put them in groups. So there's going to be so many good quarterbacks right now that to rank them seems silly to me. I put them in categories. So I can see that Jordan Love can be in the category of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, right? Not so much that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I think Justin Herbert is coming. I think, CJ Stroud, obviously. We're just going to have a lot of great, even elite quarterbacks, and to put them in numbers just really makes no sense, because they have completely different teams, completely different coaches, completely different everything, different divisions. You can't compare. You just can't. So the way I see it is can Jordan Love become a top quarterback? Yes. The answer is absolutely yes. And if that's the case, you bet on him now and you take the chance. And if it ends up being wrong, that he doesn't end up being a top quarterback, the chances of him being a bottom quarterback are like slim to none. So pay him now, get the discount, continue to be able to build your team. Set yourself up where you don't have to make a difficult decision now, where you're like, we can't afford this guy for the Packers and he's really good. What do we do? What do we do? Like you set yourself up to not have to deal with that as aggressively as, say, maybe the 49ers have to do it now. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think you should pay Jordan Love now, or do you think you should wait? Do you think Jordan Love has a greater potential to be a top quarterback or more of an average or bottom quarterback? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.